Hi everybody, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. So in today's video,
What's the real reason why y'all be stuck up with me and try to talk to y'all? Is it because y'all think being mean to a man makes them think y'all are not easy?
yes, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because it may be an honest question. Most men equate women being nice to them as a sign of the women wanting them sexually, wanting something more. Because most men are only nice to the women that they find attractive. Just last week, I took my kids to school. So the night before it had rained, it was muddy everywhere. And the morning off, it was like spitting. It was, I don't know, drizzling, misty. I don't know what you call it, but I was coming back and the footpath I use, this guy, I saw him just park his car because there were some shops and I assumed he was going to the shop, right? So he parked his car. I noticed that he was on the phone, but because we're going to use the same footpath, which is like very tiny from where the parking lot is, when we made eye contact, I smiled a bit. Okay. Yeah, that was my mistake. So I smiled and then he was like, how are you? So I'm like, I'm good. And I kept walking. I always have my earpieces on. Most of the times the volume is down when I'm in certain areas. So, I started walking away and I was walking super fast. This guy, I heard him saying, hey, wait, beautiful woman, wait, beautiful woman. And he was on the phone with someone and I heard him tell the person, wait, I just saw a beautiful, I need to take her number. I started walking super fast. I could hear him, but I didn't turn. I just kept walking as if I couldn't hear him because I know that he was going to stop. He was going to get the memo. And thank God he did because I think he started thinking that he's looking very stupid running after me. So yeah, it's true. A lot of guys, the moment you're nice to them, they assume that you want them. Okay. So a lot of women do not do that. This whole niceness, just being polite, a lot of men do misinterpret it as you wanting them. All right. So that is why a lot of women are kind of like stuck up. I'm one of those people who has a resting bee face. Okay. So when I'm not smiling, a lot of people like think I'm rude. And so I overcompensate by smiling. And so I do often find myself in weird situations like this. All right. So, yeah, let's get into some of the stories that some ladies shared, and I'm going to come back and talk some more. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you.
One of my favorite studies is this one. The cashiers at Safeway need to say, thank you, Mr. Smith, whenever they use a credit card. So when male cashiers said that to male customers, no problem. When male cashiers said that to female customers, no problem. When female cashiers said that to female customers, no problem. When female cashiers said to male customers, thank you, Mr. Smith, for shopping at Safeway, the motherfucker would follow them out to the parking lot. They'd be sitting there stalking them. They'd be showing up to work at random times because men, especially desperate men, will mistake anything for a sign, a cue for sexual activity.
So this goes back to like that old saying that women will be nice to anyone, but men will only be nice to women that they think are attractive. So because they're only nice to people they think that they're attractive, they then think that anytime women are being nice to them, no matter what setting, it means that they're attracted to them. Which is why we see so many times men thinking that women were giving them some type of hint or flirting with them just simply by being nice to them, right? We see so many women who've been stalked by men and they're like, oh, she was flirting with me. Absolutely. And you ask the woman, she was like, I just said thank you for holding the door open. Or I made small talk. And because some men will take that as flirting, because they will only do that as flirting, we then see the problem that's occurring. It means that they're attracted to them.
When I was in retail banking, men would come in and, we're required to be nice to them because that's our job. We're bankers. And we're also trying to sell products. So obviously we're going to be nice to people. And they would be so filthy with us, with bankers, just filthy. And the same thing with the tellers. They would treat us like we were little captive audiences for their worst pickup lines, for their, banking porno fantasies. And as a banker, part of my job is to bring in business and make sure we keep business and keep business flowing. So I have to be nice. And there was a man who used to come in a couple of times a week, and he would always come to my desk and he would sit. He did not have any business to do. He would just come over to my desk and sit. And I had business I needed to be doing. Anyway, I would tell him, I'm so glad you came in. It's always nice to see you, Mr. So-and-so. But the conversation you're trying to have with me, it's making me uncomfortable. I feel like it's inappropriate. I'm married. I'm married. I know you're a nice man. I know you're not trying to do anything, but maybe, did you want to talk about your account? Did you want to blah, blah, blah? He's like, well, let's just check my balance. And then he would start again. And this went on for months. And I talked to my manager about it. And my manager's just like, oh, he's harmless. And so he's sitting at my desk one day and he was being filthy. And so I turned my monitor around so that he could see it. And I was like, you have me check your balance all the time, right? I can see your account. And he goes, yeah. I'm like, yeah. It's never going to happen. I can see your account. And he was livid. Like, he lost his temper. And when my manager came over, he left. He threw a fit and he left. And my manager came over and I told her what I had done. And she was like, I can't believe you did that to that poor man. He's just lonely. But I had tried dissuading him kindly. They're willfully ignorant, willfully oblivious. They want what they want. And it doesn't matter how kindly you say no, they still want what they want. And that's not as bad as the man who sat at my desk and started to masturbate.
I'm always extra careful to be super nice to the baristas in my office building because there are so many workers, especially high income, tech or finance or whatever workers, who literally just treat them like vessels for their caffeination instead of real human beings. So I usually chat with them, how was your weekend? How are you? What do you have going on? One of the baristas has told me about like his art projects, and I know a decent amount about him, just kind of how I would another coworker. And I'm proud of that because I feel like there are a lot of people who come into work in these fancy buildings and just get treated like servants, and that's just so unacceptable to me. But what is also so unacceptable to me is how sometimes people just get too comfortable. Because today I went to order my coffee and he's talking about some what's up shoddy. I am a senior manager. Where did that line get crossed? And where can we chat to ensure that that doesn't happen so that we don't have to log this behavior in the portal? I want to be this good person so bad, but when I feel like you are good, like people think they could try you, and I don't like that either. So at this point, I'm just like, do I just keep it cute and on mute? But like, that's so sad. I don't know.
Customers, thank you, Mr. Smith, for shopping at Safeway. The would follow them out to the parking lot. They'd be sitting.
And this is the argument I was having in my head as my Uber driver the other night was trying to have some debate about women's sexuality with me. From the time I was 12, walking to Taco Bell in sweatpants, and men were pulling over to ask me how much, I knew that being nice puts you in danger. And I would rather be considered a bitch, unapproachable, off-putting, than put myself in danger. I remember being 14 years old and a friend of mine was having a birthday and letting her neighbors know. And I walked with her to one neighbor's house who was such a creeper. And at 14, I sensed that he was a creeper, and I don't remember what I said to him, but I remember that I was rude and she got mad at me and her mom got mad at me. Anytime I saw that man, he would, because he lived in the area, he would honk if he saw us walking. I would flip him off and yell, fuck you. Do you know that 10 or 15 years later, that man was on like the Mexican version of America's Most Wanted because he was a pedophile? It ain't safe, it ain't safe. I do find it weird that at the beginning of that video clip, he called it his favorite study and not like the most disturbing thing. I don't know.
For the men out there who've ever approached a woman and she immediately gave you attitude and you're asking her questions like, why you look so mean or why don't you smile? Maybe this video will help you.
One of my favorite studies is this one. The cashiers at Safeway need to say, thank you, Mr. Smith, whenever they use a credit card. So when male cashiers said that to male customers, no problem. When male cashiers said that to female customers, no problem. When female cashiers said that to female customers, no problem. When female cashiers said to male customers, thank you, Mr. Smith, for shopping at Safeway, the would follow them out to the parking lot. They'd be sitting there stalking them. They'd be showing up to work at random times because men, especially desperate men, will mistake anything for a sign, a cue for activity.
For the men out there, this is why some women are not polite to you, because we never know what your angle is. We never know what you want from us. We never know if you're not wrapped too tight. We don't know what we're getting. We understand as women that sometimes something as small as just smiling at a man or paying him a compliment can be dangerous for us. Like, you could say something nice to a man, he wants to follow you home. You could give a man a compliment and now he's showing up at your house unannounced. You could, be nice to a man on a dating app and all of a sudden he's like at your job. You just never know how far you'll go. It was never just about a bear in the woods. It was always about us as women having to use our own sense of discernment to decide for ourselves, is this one a nice guy? And I'm not talking about the self-proclaimed nice guy that beats women. I'm talking about, is he a real nice guy? Can this man be trusted? And sometimes as a woman, you have just a split second to make that decision. If you're a man out there and you're wondering why women don't smile more and you wonder why women look so mean, it's almost like a defense mechanism.
So apparently single men are starting to become afraid to approach women in real life because they don't want to be viewed as creepy, around like 53% according to this one study. And I just really think that is not enough. Run the percentage up. This is not a bad thing. This is not a bad thing, and I'm going to tell you why. A man being concerned about being viewed as creepy while approaching a woman shows an awareness of the reality of violence that women face when they're approached by men, when they deal with men, when they're talked to by men, when they're harassed by men, cackled by men, etc. And he does not want to be a part of said reality. There is literally nothing negative about men starting to be hyper aware of how they're interacting with women. There's no negative to that because it's been on the other end of the spectrum for so long, right? Like, men have been so used to women being at their disposal and their availability whenever they want to, right? That now some men see it as a slight that, oh my God, I have to worry about being viewed as a creep. You have to worry about being viewed as a creep while we have to worry about death. This is not a slight to you if you are concerned about being viewed as creepy. You should be. You should be thinking, how am I going to approach this woman in a way that is not going to scare her, that is not going to creep her out or freak her out or make her feel like I am dangerous. You should absolutely be thinking that. And then for the men that are like, well, how am I supposed to date women now? Oh my gosh, like, how am I supposed to go on dates? Do you hear yourself? Your complaint is that going out on dates with women is now going to be harder for you. That doesn't sound like the most privileged thing. Being harder for y'all to approach us is not oppression. That is not a slight to you. That is a byproduct of the violence that we have to deal with and face. It's a byproduct of all these other men in the world that make that so difficult. A Black woman and girl was killed every 6 hours in 2020. Around 81% of women in general deal with sexual harassment. Women get killed for saying no to men on the street. Until those statistics and statistics like it stop, we have a right to not be sure if you as a man approaching us is going to be one of those men. And you need to start thinking about your behavior and making sure you do not become one of those men or come off as one of those men. This is not a negative thing. A lot of y'all need to be concerned about being viewed as a creep.
Yeah, everything that she says makes a lot of sense, all right? You need to figure out how to approach women, and you need to stop assuming that every woman that is nice to you automatically is interested in you. The fact that this is how you view the world, because if you don't find a woman as attractive enough to you, you're not nice to them, you're mean to them, you treat them anyhow, right? So when you see women who are, attractive, who are being nice to you, you assume that they think the way you think. That is what you need to check, because most of us are just nice people, right? We're just nice, there's nothing more, right? And that also explains why a lot of women cannot be friends with men, because we know it's going to escalate to the next level. When we become friends with men, most men do want something more because they assume that you want them sexually, when all you want is someone to, hang out with, just be friends with, all right? And it's sad, but it's true. So if the stats is saying that most men are afraid of approaching women, I say, yes, I agree with her. Let the numbers go higher than that. Let it be more than 53 or 54%. Let it be higher than that. All right. Let more men become aware of their behavior and how it impacts their relationship with women or interactions with women. If you want women to not be stuck up, don't assume that when they're being nice to you, they want you or they want to have sex with you. It's not always the case, okay? Some women, yeah, it's not, they probably want that. Not all of us who are being nice to you want you to, do things to us. No. And when a woman says no, it means no. If they are not being nice to you, please don't get your egos bruised, right? That means that they don't want you. Just keep it pushing. But the best way to approach all of this, like they're saying, be like the other guys who have stopped being creeps. Be like the 54% of men, right? Unless you have figured out a way to approach women without it coming across as you being a creep. Because if me being stuck up means that I get home safe, it means that I don't get harassed, I don't get bullied, I don't get catcalled because people assume I'm stuck up. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to be more stuck up, all right? Because that's a way to protect myself, all right? So it's not about you, it's about me. It's about a way to, keep setting people away from me. Let me know what you think about all of this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again with another video. Take care of yourselves. Bye.